we want to talk about. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A section where you'll be able to ask your questions. So let's begin. Amit sir, hello.
Yeah. Do you guys see my presentation? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So, hi everyone. So today we are here to discuss uh, which career path should we choose. Generally, after passing out from college, there will be a lot of confusions around this, which path we should go for, like front end or back end. These days, even the full stack roles are coming a lot in the lot of companies. Especially, I think startups and smaller companies they look for full stack roles. So we will be discussing more on these roles. Which one should you choose? So, and we will also share our experiences. So, I'm from VMware, and Rahul is there from Uber, and I'm from backend team, and he's working from the front end side. So, we will be sharing our experiences here. So, so let's get some overview of front end and back end, right? So I think a lot of people might be already aware. So as you can see in this visual, right, there's some portion which is visible outside to most of the people. So something similar happens in technology also. Like whatever is visible, that's front end we call it, and whatever is not visible, that's probably the back end. And a lot of heavy lifting work goes into the back end, and a lot of creativity and artistic things goes on front end side. So we'll see, like we'll drill down more on these two components further in our slides, and we'll have at the end we'll have a Q&A session. So overall this presentation will be divided into two parts. So the first part will mainly be dealing with we will try to clarify what exactly is needed in the industry for each of these roles, and then we will be sharing our experiences. And the second part will be mostly what you can what you should learn, and what all resources you can learn from, so that you can be industry ready. So, and then Q&A session will be there. Okay, so let's go some deeper into any typical web hosting service, right? You will see it will, on a high level, it will look something like this. So there will be mainly two parts, like one will be the browser and another will be the server. So the browser side, mostly the request and response will be handled by the browser. Means it will be basically showing it to the users, and the server basically is the main backend part, which will be dealing mainly with the data. So the user data and the security around those data. So that will be, and basically the backend server will be the one which will be persisting the data in the end. So, and backend is the user interface, which mainly deals around HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Mainly these three things are the main thing around which the front end will revolve around, and the browser mainly deals with this. So overall, the whole ecosystem of front end resides around browser. And the backend side, so there will be a server, and the server is owned by the company, and like the developer will have control over that. Like he can choose what servers he needs to deploy, and over that server his code will be running, and it will also be interacting with the databases. So Mostly the front end does not directly interact with the database. In some cases it can, but most of the time it will go via server. So, and via APIs it can get the, it can send the request, get the response, and then it can show it in the UI. So this is front end and back end, and overall there is a new role coming up. Most of the companies like these days, they are also looking for full stack developers. So if a person has both of these knowledge, then he is considered as a full stack developer, and we'll just see more detailed manner what exactly is needed in all these roles. So let's go to front-end development. What exactly you need to know, what technologies, languages you need to know, what you will be working upon once you go into the companies, and what will not be required to know, and all those things. So maybe I think Rahul, you want to go through this slide?
Yeah, sure. So if you talk about the front end, right? So natively you should have experience with HTML, CSS in the JavaScript. So like that's how you begin, right? So you will not directly jump on the frameworks. So like it's important to know all the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So once you have command over that, so once you are like very good with the basics of all that, then you can actually think about going to the next step, that is learning some framework, right? Because just because you know all the like just because now you have covered all the basics, it gives you, it's like definitely gives you the edge, like you have good command over it. But in industries, in like in companies, they will be using multiple frameworks, right? They will be not working on directly native JavaScript and the CSS. So you need to learn any of the frameworks like Vue.js, AngularJS, or React.js, right? So right now, if you see in the industry, everyone is jumping on the React.js. That's like it's high time. Every time everyone is using React.js. So I think it's good to know React, because like wherever you go, most of the companies will be using React. So it's good to know that React. So now if you see the next, build tools like npm, right? So now you might be thinking, okay, like npm is already there, like why I need to build something like this, right? So it happens, right? So there'll be a lot of tools you need to build over it for your company, for your team, like to improve the performance, right? For example, in my company, right, we don't use like we use npm yarn, but like what we have done is we have built another wrapper over them, like by the combination of yarn, node, and bazel. Like bazel is another tool which like manage the dependencies. So by the like combining these three, we have like write a wrapper over them, like name as Giselle. So you get to build, you like get a chance to build all those tools also, which requires a lot of like lots of interesting work. Like it's like most of the JavaScript work, right? And you might be thinking, okay, like now in the front end we don't need a MySQL, right? There will be no use cases, right? But they'll actually use cases. So there are some applications, like if you thought about the Gmail, if you thought about Gmail, or you can might be think about some YouTube, or like with very heavy like content based websites, like where there's a lot of offline materials also remains on your web browser. So there you need actually a MySQL. So for example, in DirectI, we have our desktop application built on Electron.js. So there, like most of the data stored locally stored on the MySQL. So you need to know MySQL, right? So because all those work will be done by the front end engineer. So like there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of things we can learn. So it's just not building UI tools, there's a lot of interesting stuff we can do. Yeah, that's mostly on the front end. Now the Amit will explain like more about the back end thing.
Yeah. So, so in backend, so mostly server-side languages like Node.js or Java, or some places Ruby. There are a lot of new languages also coming up, which one person has to learn if he wants to pursue his career into backend development. So I primarily work on Java, and So here, so you need to be master in at least one of the languages, right, for backend development, and you need to also understand or know frameworks like Spring, or if you are developing in Ruby, then Ruby on Rails or Node.js. So that depends. If you are in Java, you will have to definitely learn the Spring framework. And apart from language framework, you will be using databases a lot. So both kind of databases like RDBMS as well as NoSQL. So in RDBMS, if you know any of one of the database, either MySQL or Postgres, that should be sufficient. And then you, whatever queries and all in college you have studied, so those queries we definitely need here, though you will not be directly using that, probably via framework. Spring provides framework, even other frameworks are there in other languages. So but you definitely need to know how to form the queries and all. So those frameworks you can use to easily query. So these things, technology or languages wise, you need to know. And once you know this, once you go into the company, what you will be exactly working upon. So you will be basically working upon, like you will be getting some features or business use cases. So product managers will be there and they will be providing you some use cases, and you need to basically come up with the design and development of that particular feature or module. So this server-side business logic is that itself, like user authentication, order handling. These are some kind of use cases which probably you need to work upon. So for these, you will need those technologies, languages. You will be using that and then probably coming up with these features. And there are the other features like automatic notifications, email notifications, all those things, and data validation. So like data validation is very crucial in server side, because front end also does the validation, but finally the data means front end can be modified by the user also, right? JavaScript and all can be changed and can be tweaked, but definitely for error messages and all, properly displaying front end is needed. But definitely at the back end, server needs to handle it, because that's the one who is going to persist into the database. So those kind of validations will be needed. And then you will be running some scheduled processes, maybe some heavy lifting work you are doing in the background, and then you are serving the results out of it. So those scheduled processes you will be running. So these things we will be working upon in India, and things which will not be working is the one, like front end things mostly you will not be working upon if you are a core backend developer. Client side validation, so user interfaces, those things you will not be working upon. So, but mostly your interaction will not be much from the customer side, or probably interaction will be little less here, because mostly front end side interaction is a lot. Uh, so that is more of a development, backend development, and then let's go to full stack development, right? So in case of full stack, as we already mentioned about front end and backend, so here a person who is into full stack development, he will have to know both sides, right? HTML, JavaScript, CSS, server side language, and then these JS libraries, all these things. So he will have to know all these things. Means he need not be master in all of these things. That depends upon his interest, but he will definitely have to know all these things. So the good point is, like he will have an end-to-end overview of anything. Like, he will not be like, even if he wants to pursue any project of his own, he can use this experience, and so he's not dependent on anyone else for this, right? He will be expert in most of the things. So that's from full stack development side. And so which one is better? So that question again depends on a lot of things, so which we will be basically discussing and sharing our experiences, and that we can discuss. So if you see, so front end wise also, I think there is a lot of development going on. Like every day there are new releases, new browser APIs coming up. And So a lot of changes are happening in JavaScript library. So you need to be there also. You need to keep in touch with all of these things. And in backend side, the technology wise, there is a vast technologies available, and so there is always a scope to do better in terms of performance and all. Always there will be there security, performance, both. So that's why the demand for developers in these two fields will never be less. Like it will be growing only. And full stack, anyways, mostly the small companies and freelancers they prefer that. So that's mostly from I think cost cutting side. So they prefer full stack role. So let's see some trends which will probably help you understand more better. And so if you see the language trends, right, means this data is available in Stack Overflow. You can also check that, and this gives quite a good overview of the language trends. So like this is 2020 trends, right? So even HTML, CSS, Java, if you see, all these are having around 50-55% popularity, right? People are using that. And in terms of salary wise, if you see, so these are the full stack backend and front end trends of salaries, like globally and then US salaries. Okay.
So what do you think a fresher should pick up? Like, which of these technologies should a fresher pick up in college?
Yeah, so I think for that we will discuss our own experiences, and we'll also discuss like if you have those kind of skill set, probably you should go for that. So our next slide will be basically around that. It's mainly to do with our experiences and what exactly is needed. So I think Rahul, probably, yeah, you can actually go over this.
Okay, so the question is why I chose front end is like, so even like during my college time, so like in my college also there's a lot of competitive environment. So like from people from every branch is in the competitive coding. So you can see from the computer science team, computer science branches to the like biotechnology branch, everyone is into the competitive coding, right? Everyone is doing the code chef, hacker rank, uh, everything, right? So there, like I also have that interest, but I'm not a very big fan. Okay, like keep doing all those stuff. So I started development, and at that time, I thought, okay, let's try to build something back end. So like I don't have too much I'm not able to know okay what to do. So I thought of starting from the front end like HTML, CSS, and then the thing that I really like is like whatever I am building, right? If I'm building a website, I'm building a web app, like any sort of app or website or something, it can directly go live and the user people can see it. So that thing actually drives me to build things like to build clean and like fast responsive things which user can see, which load very fast to the users. So all those things like actually like after that when I keep working more, so I'm like keep doing more projects and exploring more, I realize okay, this is my field, this is where I think I really like it, I'm liking it, so this is where I can go more. So I think that's the reason I think I chose front end and like I'm continuing doing it. Yeah, so that's like from my experience. Now Amit will share like what's his experience is like about the backend part.
Okay, so based on my experience, I think if you love solving complex problems, right, then I think backend has a lot to offer in terms of this. So I mean, and also like if you see, means in the college time you will basically study both, right? I think front end as well as back end, both kind of things, projects you will be doing. So you this is from my experience, like some people will be like very good at presenting things, right? And then probably creativity wise they will be very good. And front end, I feel it requires that a lot, like how things are shown to user, the placement and all, and the overall look and feel is very important. So probably I was more focused on solving complex problems and basically optimizing it. So I was more focused on that. So I did not felt more on this side. So that's why I feel backend was more the role which I wanted to pursue. So, and also if you see the languages like object-oriented languages, right? Like Java, C++. So here, the code-wise, if we do a proper like in company, the code is properly organized. I mean, the design patterns and all, if you are using it properly, so you will actually. That was my feeling. Like I felt like I was loving that. I mean, if you properly code it and in a proper design pattern wise, the code will look very cleaner and it will be quite organized, and anything, any functionality or anything if you want to add, it will be very easy to add for anyone else. And that feeling is the thing which for which I think I chose backend. Um,
All
and
right.
also, I think patents and all, like in company, if you go, you will have option to file patents and all. So server-side patents, you get more patent rewards compared to UI patents. So that is also one of the point. Like I wanted to bring that.
So these days, there are many platforms for learning, picking up skills like Udemy, YouTube, Udacity. So according to you, which one of these is, does a good job of, explaining things to students? Like where should one pick up skills from?
Yeah, so I think let's focus more on that. So, for example, like if you want to choose, right, if you have already decided, so one thing is if you are not able to decide, then best shot is like let's go for a full stack development. So, and once you land in the company, you can that depends on the company also. You can actually you can balance out both, like you can get both kind of job. That depends on the projects also. If you have more backend, more UI, or both are available, so those kind of things you need to focus. Like you can still 1.5 year or 2 years you can work as a full stack, and then you can probably decide. That thing also I have seen in our companies, in the previous companies, that also people do a lot. So after 1.5 year or 2 years, you will get a very good understanding, like about your interest, right? Uh, or else, if you have already decided in the beginning, like you want to go for a backend role itself, then here are the things which you should focus more from interview perspective also, and also from like when you join the company, your productivity from the first day will be like very good. So you need to definitely be very excellent in at least one language, either C++ or Java, or if you are going for Ruby, probably Ruby. So or even Python also, some companies are use. So you have to be proficient in at least one language.
Right.
And then data structures and algorithms, I think these things probably in the college also you might be practicing a lot. And lead code and all, they are very good, and there are other platforms also available, so you can choose, but you have to practice, right? You need to be actually comfortable with the overall thinking and the problem solving skills. That is what in the interview they look for, right? Your overall thinking and problem solving should be like clear, and the way you communicate while solving this problem, that should be clear. So
Rahul,
that
sir, do you have anything to add to that? Like, uh, how should students in college approach?
Yeah, okay. So I would like to add from the front end perspective because it's slightly different. It's like quite similar, like as Amit said. So like we need to practice our lots, and it's like the more we practice, the more better will be. So, but it's slightly, I think, a little different in like different platforms. So I think first thing is like you should be learning about the JavaScript. Like first focus on the JavaScript, right? And if I like if from the JavaScript perspective, I will say MDN JavaScript has a lot of really good documentation about all the concepts. So if you go through it, you will get a complete knowledge about all the concepts, right? Now the question come, okay, now I have learned all the basics of like CSS and JavaScript. Now how I will, from where I will learn what to build and everything, right? So you don't need to worry about, first thing is you don't need to worry about what should I build. You can build whatever you want, just whatever you like. You like Facebook, you can build a very simplistic version of Facebook, right? You want to build a to-do list, just go through like a very slightly like medium level to-do list. There are really good to-do lists available. You can just copy exactly, try to clone the project, right? Build exactly similar functionality and exactly similar UI, right? So just whatever websites you have, like you can just try to build them on your own, right? And first, don't use the frameworks, I will say. First, try to build through complete raw JavaScript, like vanilla JavaScript, right? Because the
Yes.
more you will build through vanilla JavaScript, the more you will learn the importance of, okay, why we are using this, what's the need of it. Because when you are continuously writing your code, you are making mistakes, you will eventually realize, okay, what should I need to do and how I need to improve. Then when you try to jump to any frameworks like React or Vue.js, then you will actually see, okay, what we are doing there actually. So like my suggestion is like first focus, we should focus on like making projects through like vanilla JavaScript, and then you can, I will say, jump to React.js like frameworks and try to understand their concept and build any project. Like it doesn't matter what you build, it as long as you're building something.
So what about after beginning? Like, a lot of people, they start with projects, they start with simple projects like to-do lists, a clone of any website they like. But after that, they don't know what the next step is. Like,
Yeah,
so
so there are a lot of like you need, okay, so after that you can learn the design patterns, right? So now, okay, now you know, okay, you have built something, right? Now pick more, little more complex, right? Because you are building as a side projects everything, right?
yes,
So what you can do is, you if you have some uh, idea of your own, you can try to convert into it. Or I will say like try to pick little more complex websites, right? For example, if I will say, I think people must have used Trello, right? So Trello has a very good UI, right? So it's like a
yeah,
little, if you see from the front end perspective, there's a lot of good work available there, right? So just not, it's just about building it, right? Okay, I like Trello, okay, I will build it. No, first research about it, right? People must have built Trello on like on the web, right? Try to do how they have done it, try to read their code, try to read the architecture, right? So slowly, when you, after building some projects, you can learn about the architecture also, how you should architect your app, so that you can think about, okay, if I want to scale it, if I want to add multiple features, can I add it easily, right? So it's about adding more features very easily to scale my project to a like continuously, so that my code will not be junky and it's like too bloated and scattered code. So
Okay, I want to ask one question. Can you tell me like how should I study a design patterns and object-oriented programming? Because mostly I face the problem in designing the object-oriented systems. Can you suggest for that?
Yeah, yeah. So let me take this question. So I think Plural Site, I think it's a paid service, but it has a very good design pattern tutorials. And
Okay, a beginner can understand, like a beginner who want to start it and he can he understand from there, because I know the like I use the Python. So Python I know very well, but I always have a problem in designing a object oriented system. Like I got confused in designing them. So like can you suggest for that how should I start so that I can be able to achieve design the architectures and all those object oriented systems?
okay, so I think from Python perspective, you want to know, right?
Python, Java, anything.
Yeah.
I work on
So
both Python and Java both. I
right,
work on
right.
both
So, for
languages.
example, let's take Java, right? So,
Okay.
Java library itself is a very good source to learn all these design patterns. So, if you go through the like tutorials, like most of the tutorials, either Udemy, means I suggested Pluralsight because I have mainly referred that, and it was very helpful. maybe I think even others also which online freely available design patterns tutorials are there. There also, if you see, they will always quote examples from the Java libraries, the Java SDKs. So I think you should read through like how Java has used those design patterns to come up with the library itself. So, for example, simple thing is a comparator, right? A comparator and all. So, so you should actually read, means go through the code, and there will be a reference to these also. Logger is there, Logger is there, and so there are few popular libraries which are used a lot, and they use these design patterns a lot. So you should try to relate that. Like if you are not doing it on yourself, just try to see how it is used, because most of the time you will be just using those methods. You will be just doing that method calls, but you don't know like internally it is actually using a pattern, design pattern, right?
Can you just tell me like from where I should learn these object-oriented programming? Because I feel that is very important in the industry ahead.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's very important.
Although and front end, most probably a software architecture is one of the important stuff. So I want to learn that art. I want to master that art.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely understand that. There is a book head
Head
I
for yes, reading it like some of the part I am not able to understand. That's why I'm asking like, is there
Yes,
any
yes. No, that's
quick?
why I think before going to those books, right? That's why I told uh, you just pick the very common design patterns, right?
Okay,
Those common design pattern, don't need to focus, like there are three categories, right, of design patterns. So
Gang of Four are there.
Gang of Four is there, but I think for a beginner, it's a little difficult to digest that. So
Yes,
I
yes.
would suggest anything which you follow, right? Just try to see the examples of Java library. Just try to
Okay.
first
You
understand that.
have you have any source like Prula site is better or like any website you can suggest so that I can learn and I can practice those systems.
Pluralsight is the best one which I have felt. Means I have read both, like Games of Force also, and that Head First
Okay.
or something is there. That one also, and then Pluralsight also. So, but
Okay.
generally I refer or revise also using that Pluralsight. That is the
Okay.
best.
So so according to you, Plural site can provide me insight for all the object-oriented
Yes.
programming
Yes.
and architecture designing.
So they take both the examples. They take example from Java's SDK as well, and then they will also write a proper, like you will be able to write your own code, and you will be able to
Yes, yes.
write real-time
I
examples.
I'm asking because there's a company which is Gojek and they only prefer a test object oriented. So and their level is very high. That's why I'm asking. I
Yeah, yeah.
have
So I would like to add something to Abhi. So so there is a have you heard of Educative? So they have some really good courses about the web architecture. So
okay.
you can also go through it. So they have explained with examples, proper documentation
No,
also.
no, that I have understood. Like I have gone and read, but there's a problem. I have the like issue in object oriented design. So
No, no,
like
I
that.
definitely understand that. I think educative, even I have gone through that. Whatever you are searching for, right? You want to do hands-on, right? You want
Yes,
to
yes.
write your own code. So I can tell you, Plural site has exact material which you are looking for. You will be able
Okay.
to write your own using your actual these actual scenarios, right? You will be able to code it.
Yes, yes. That's the
Anyway,
thing.
so
Actual scenario I want to write. Like if someone gave me question to solve on object oriented, I
Yes,
should able to think like that. That's what
right,
I want to do.
right, right. I think that's the best source I till now I have seen.
And also, like if you pick up problem, right? So if you, for example, if you try to pick any of the web app architecture you want to see, so if you try
Yeah.
to Google it and try to read about it, there are multiple articles must be written about it. For right, for example, if you try to read about like Google Docs architecture, so there will be multiple articles, so you will get a good idea about it, like what's the whole architecture is like. You must also get you might be able to get some code also, so they have must have written it. And but like for the theory, they definitely have like good architecture which you can try to implement it.
anyway, so we'll be moving on with the presentation then.
Yeah. So I think, front end wise, Rahul has already discussed this. Uh, Backend wise, I was going through this. So in backend, apart from the programming knowledge and data structure algorithm, what you need to know so that you are very comfortable from first day in the company, right? So you need to learn at least one framework. Spring Boot framework is the most commonly used in most of the companies. So you should be able to you should be able to write out means code a project, like take one project, a simple project, and that will interact with the database also. And using this framework, you should be able to do that. For example, employee management system, just simple like
The
that.
Spring Boot is under Java, right?
Yeah, that's a Java framework. So you should be able to, you should have one project done. So then you will be comfortable. And then build tools. So when you will be using a Spring Boot, so you will be most probably using a IDE, either Eclipse or IntelliJ. Uh, and you will be using build tool like Maven or Gradle. So a basic understanding of this Maven and Gradle for building a jar so that you can run it as a service. You can deploy it. So that's the very basic thing which you need to know. If you know these things, like and then relational and NoSQL databases. So this, anyways, I think in the college also you would have actually touched upon, like relational databases.
Yes.
So these are the basic things which you need to know once you go to the company.
All right, Rahul, so do you have to add anything to this?
So yeah, so for the like to get ready for the like to make sure that you're very comfortable when you're working any project. So like for example, if your company is working on the React.js project, so like if you like have worked on 2 or 3 React projects, so you will definitely be comfortable with it, because like then it's easy for you to play around the project and just to get identify okay what everything is going on. So I will say just whatever the tech stack they are using, just try to build some personal projects and try to play with them.
All right.
Sorry, like I was gone because my I have an internet issue. Can you like repeat like what you were explaining last time? Sorry.
Yeah, Abhishek, this session will be recorded, so you can check that out.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay. Thank you.
Okay, so sir, do you have any more slides in the presentation?
No, I think. Yeah, just to add, I think to that design pattern, I wanted to add one more thing. UML diagrams. So we generally don't focus more on UML diagrams, but they are very important. If you want to remember, like there are a lot of design patterns, and you definitely want to remember that in your mind, right? So UML diagrams are the best way to remember those things, and you should have a practice to write a UML diagram.
So last thing is like that. So according to you, I should practice UML diagrams so that I can remember all those design patterns. I'm
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you should be able to express that via UML diagram. Those are very small UML diagrams, but definitely you should have a clear picture. And there is a good
Okay.
tutorial in educative also, like how to write UML
Okay.
diagrams.
Okay. Okay. That I understood. Like,
So we'll be taking up
okay,
questions in
yeah.
the Q&A
thank you.
section.
Thank you.
There are questions in the chat, so we'll be starting with the first one. First question for Rahul sir, whether to learn Bootstrap or not?
Yeah, you should have idea. You should have idea about Bootstrap, and so it just number this. So there are two things, right? First, how to use Bootstrap, right? So that's a very easy part. So that's everyone can learn, right? Because that's just a documentation, you can use it. Try to see what's beyond it, like how the Bootstrap is implemented. Try to go through its code. That is actually be very beneficial for you.
Yes. So what about people who like currently a lot of students only work on JavaScript projects in college. Like currently main stack, merge stack, it's very popular. People don't go for Java based courses because they think it's obsolete. So what do you have to say about that?
So I will say like Java is not absolute. So if you see in the industry, like most of the big companies are working on the Java, right? So definitely like I will say like new languages are coming, like Go, Clojure, different languages are coming. But still there's a lot of industries, lot of companies in the industry which are using Java, right? And again, I think the Amit has already mentioned that, so you just need to focus on one language, right? So either you know Java very well. So if you have like Java, like if you are a really good programmer in Java and can develop projects really well in Java, so that's totally fine. Now if you need to move to any other language, that will not be an issue, right? Because you have your fundamentals very clear. So it's just about, like as Amit said, you need to be good with one programming language at least.
Just to add to this, so if you are well versed with one language, right? When I say well versed, you need to understand like you are able to easily browse the even the some of the internals of that language, because that will help you to easily understand other languages like these new languages which are coming up. You can easily I think you can tell like what exactly they are doing means by just looking at their overall methods which are available. So you can see like what extra wrapper they have written over that or something like that. Means it's very easy to understand once you have this kind of
Okay.
if you have deep into one language.
Okay. So another question a lot of people have is that they know beginner level. They can make beginner level projects. They can work with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but they don't know how to scale their app to more number of requests. So how can what things should I know to do to be able to do that?
Yeah. So I think they might be using a backend to scale it, right? Right. They are talking more from a request perspective, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's more from backend side. So how they can scale overall, like when load increases, how can they do? So there are a lot of different techniques. I think even that also, not from a fresher guy, but experienced guy, they expect these things. They should be aware of those things. So you can, yeah, scaling, like you can do a horizontal scaling. So vertical scaling, horizontal scaling is there. So mostly these days horizontal scaling happens. So and mostly microservices are there which are containerized deployments, and in the deployment itself you can actually specify how many replicas you want to deploy for that particular service. So that's a horizontal scaling that comes by default with Kubernetes and all. So that's how people do it. So if you want, and those things you can actually try on your own also. Like I think Kubernetes and all, you need to have AWS platform. I'm not sure whether on a yeah, I think Minikube and something, those things are there, which you can install on your local, and then you can try those things, horizontal scaling and all, just simulate those similar scenarios. So that's how you should go for.
So another question a lot of people had was what is user experience like? How does it how is it relevant or not?
You User experience, you mean UX, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I will say like you don't need to worry too much about it. Like for example, if you are not very good with like coloring, theming, and like about the user experience, how to like go ahead with it. You actually, like when you're actually learning the front end things, you don't need to worry about it. Why? Because as a front end engineer, I will say like for the beginner, at least for the first, I will say initial phase of the career, you don't need to worry about all those stuff, right? Because for that thing, we already have the product managers and the designers, right? But that doesn't mean like you shouldn't forget about the user experience.
Because there are a lot of job openings on LinkedIn. They associate UI and UX together. So
That's actually like, so actually what's happening in the industry, there's a lot of like very different jobs, right? So if you talk about the front end engineer, sometimes what they ask you is just play only with the JavaScript. They don't want you to even touch CSS, right? So there are jobs in the industry which are just about like UI designing, right? Pure HTML, CSS, right? So actually, like if you talk about the front end, it's like split into multiple things. But over the like very on the high level thing, we can say is as a front end engineer, when if you are learning it, don't worry about it. Whatever type of UI you are building, that's totally fine. But you should always try to improve it, try to learn it, how the user experience can be improved, right? So it's just like, okay, you don't need to worry about it. From there, you need to actually start thinking a little bit about it, slowly learning all these things. Because I think later in the career, once you become experienced, all these actually start mattering, because you are actually leading the project. For example, it's a front-end project of 5 people, you are actually leading that project. Now you need to discuss all these things with designers, right? So sometimes they can be like, okay, designers thought of something else, but you have the experience, right? You have a 5-year experience. You can actually say, okay, this thing actually looks better for the user. So it's always try to improve it on it, but it's not a necessity to know the UX thing to be a front-end engineer, I will say.
Okay, so we'll be talking a bit about interviews now. So what does a front-end interview look like? What questions can a beginner expect, in job roles which are titled as, front-end engineer? So could you
Okay.
talk?
Okay, so I think one of the very important thing I would like to first clarify about the front-end interview is you still need to be very like you still need to be above, like I will say, very good at data structure and algorithms, right? You can't escape from it because that's what actually company expects from you. From if you talk about all the product based companies, all the top companies from I will say from Google to Facebook to Uber to director, everyone, they expect you to be very good at data structure and algorithms. The only thing is that you shouldn't be at that, like you can say, like, as it's not as tough as backend, but it's still you need to be very good with all the like trees, graphs, and like all the queues and all the data structures. You need to be very proficient with it because questions are still above medium level, I will say. So that's the first part. And second part is like comes is about the JavaScript concepts, right? So you need to be very good with them, as I like already said multiple times. So, like for example, I would like to give one example, right? Promises, right? So promise is a very simple syntax, right? It's not a very high profile syntax. It's a very simple syntax you can learn in just half an hour and you can find with that, right? But just thought about it, like you can learn in 30 minutes. Don't you think everyone can learn in 30 minutes, right? So that's not the problem. The problem is if you're learning that promises, try to understand how the promises are implemented. What's the difference between a promise and the other asynchronous thing, right? For example, if you talk about the promises, they use the micro queue, right, as compared to the other asynchronous tasks. So whenever a function exits, it will first look at the micro queue. That's the first promises are resolved, right? Only after that, all the other asynchronous thing will be resolved. So all these things you can only learn if you try to go into the deep of all this stuff, right? How the browser is behaving, how the asynchronous thing actually works, right? So as long as you try to understand all the deep connections, what is happening in your browser, they actually not help in interviews. They can be asked asked even in the interviews also. I remember like in during my Uber interview, they asked me about how the browser like Chrome V8 engine works, like how the node works actually, like the complete cycle of it. So that's the another phase. That's the another important thing.
Okay,
There's,
so another question was, how does the career progression of a front-end engineer look like? Like,
uh,
what is
okay, so it's actually quite similar to, I will say, a normal, like if you see in the back, if you see normal is SD1, SD2, SD3, right? So it's like similar to the backend team here. Then we are team lead also. There's a front end team where you can be the team lead. So now after that, I think EM, I will say it will be little tough. Because generally, if you see the engineering managers, they mostly are from the back-end background or some multiple backgrounds. Generally, not from the, especially from the front-end background, so like totally front-end background. So after that, you can be the actually architect also. So I have seen like a lot of people who are architects actually, who can like has the ability to not only able to build the complete web apps, but able to like help the teams, help the like developers to build things efficiently, like building the tools for them. So I think the ultimate part, the last end I will say is the architect, like being the architect in the company.
all right? Amit sir, do you have anything to say about that, about the career progression of a backend developer?
Yeah, I think what Rahul mentioned, even I have seen the same. Like for front end, I think I've not seen many engineering managers from front end role. So definitely you need to understand that. And even for back end engineers, they also need to know about front end after a certain point of time. Means after lead, if they want to progress in their career, if they want to vertically grow, they need to know about front end also.
So
Right?
knowledge of both is essential, right?
Is essential. Then only they will be able to manage both front end as well as, because they have to manage both back end and front end members.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a, like a very important point that Amit mentioned. So so initially like it's fine, right? Because you need to be very good at your field. But once you are becoming like, okay, you are like, you know all the stuff, you are trying to become decent on your area. So you should be have the knowledge of all the stuff around it, right? For example, you should know the backend, right? It's not expected that you will be like very proficient with the backend, but you should have the knowledge of the backend. You know all the to like all the basic tools, how the things works in the backend, basics about all the DB. So as long as you keep progressing, you should have the knowledge about the other fields also in general. Because I will say like it's good to know, because like whenever you grow, it's expected that multiple things what's going around you, you should know about that.
So another question in the comments: should a second year student focus on development or competitive programming? Like,
I will say the community programming definitely, because you need to be good with DSL Go. Develop, so you need to see what you like. If you're like very good in DSL Go and you're like very interested in it, keep going in it. Try development also if you're liking it. Keep going for both. There is like, it's like a cherry on the cake too.
uh, Amit, do you have anything to say?
No, I think definitely that's what is mostly required in the interviews. So, and the other things which I told regarding frameworks and other knowledge, like how you should have done some projects and all, those things, once you clear the interview, you will get enough time between, like once you go to the company, and then you should use that time to brush up these skills, build tools and frameworks. Yeah.
So what do you think the future of backend development looks like? Like currently Java is, as you said, very popular. How do you think the scene will change in the coming few years?
I think yeah, in the future we can see like lot of new languages have come up, and obviously they have come up because their performance is better compared to like Java. So Go is there, Kotlin is there, Scala is there. Uh, but yeah, I think going forward in future, you should be ready to work on multiple languages, because your overall tech stack will consume. For one of the services, you might be using some particular language. For other services, maybe some other language. So, and that will depend upon like the tech stack will be chosen based on the overall performance in the industry. So
So,
definitely.
like, I have one question. Like, what do you think about the Python and Django?
Yeah, yeah, Python will be there. I think even today also a lot of companies still use Python in their backend. So a
So,
lot of
should
companies, like you
like,
see the startups and all, right? They start with Python or Ruby, and they eventually, when they start growing, right, then you in the industry, a lot of people want to work in Java itself. So they eventually move, but they initially go to market, right? That is they in the market they want to reach as fast as possible. So that's why they choose these languages initially, and then slowly over a period of time when they become big, they slowly move their overall tech stack to Java or some languages like this.
So do you think the landscape of web development will change after the coronavirus situation? Like, do you think it has any impact on any?
Mm, no, I think currently though no impact as such. We have seen like overall we have work from home facilities, right? So even the new joinees and all, if the company business is not impacted, they will definitely join. Even in our companies, we are seeing the joinings and all there that are not impacted. So those things will not get impacted, I feel. But yeah, overall, it depends on the business of the company. If that's impacted, then
All right. So
So
how,
yeah,
another
I would like to add something here. So yeah, so this totally depends on the company. Like for example, like some of the business has impacted, like they will definitely going to lay off. So like if you see in the Uber, right? So there is a multiple like worldwide layoff, right? But like I have seen in the Indian India, like in India, Bangalore and Hyderabad office, especially Bangalore office. So all the people who has got the offers, they are joining. So we have the interns joining also. So because of the like especially from the Bangalore office, right? So it's and it like there definitely companies who are like laying off multiple people, like engineers also, right? So one thing we need to understand, I think, is I'm just saying from my perspective, also from everyone, that it's not something which is in our hands, right? Because it's just like circumstances, and the like company are like they need to like get the cost, they need to balance their cost, so they are just laying off. So if someone get laid off, they're just being unlucky. I think the best thing to do is just to get your level high, right? Whatever the time you are getting, just get your upskill, right? Get your skills, get yourself more powerful, get your learn new skills, get very good at your skills, right? Because when you enter into the market again, there'll be more competition, and the only way to come over the competition and to clear any other company is that you need to be very good at again, right? So that's the only thing. Just keep preparing and just be good at things, whatever you are doing. Like just keep improving it. That's the best I think we can do like if someone being laid off or something like that.
Yeah, I think definitely till now the overall situation is not means the future will tell like how it progresses. Like it can be worse also.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it can go either way. So there's
it's
nothing
better,
that.
better to prepare.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Hopefully everything stays good.
Yeah, that's what everyone is hoping for.
Anyway, so if none of you have more questions in the chat, we'd like to end the session. So thank you, Amit sir. Thank you, Rahul sir, for joining us today. And
Thank
I
you
hope
guys.
everyone learned a lot. Thank you, guys.